Today marks 6 months since the death of George Floyd. The 8 minutes and 46 seconds that Officer Derek Chauvin knelt on George Floyd's neck, of course, unleashed a summer of protests and calls for action. This country and ultimately the world all collectively started taking a closer look at racism and how it plays out in society with regard to privilege, policing, and the pandemic. But for the Floyd family, it was personal. Joining us now is George Floyd's younger brother, Terrence Floyd. Thanks so much for joining us, especially on what must be a difficult day. Terrence, 180 days after the death of your brother and after a summer of turmoil, do you believe that this country is making good on all the calls for change?
Well, in my community, I see policing being more for the community. You're able to speak to them. You're able to have a conversation and understand how they feel about their job or how they feel about, what goes on in the community or outside of the community. So I feel that's a definite start.
But do you feel that 180 days later, when you saw that outcry, that outpouring of support from people, would you have expected more 6 months down the road?
Yes, I would have expected more, but for right now, it's a start, and we got to start somewhere.
It was, of course, the graphic and brutal manner in which your brother was killed that mobilized Americans of all races to take to the streets in protest. But many in the Black community saw this as a demonization or typical treatment of Black women and men that plays out all too often. What do you feel that law enforcement needs to do in order to regain trust?
Well, like I said before, what they're starting to do, communication, not looking at a person and saying, oh, they're guilty. Oh, they have a problem. They have a situation. No, get to know the community that you work in, and then once you understand your community and we understand you, then the change will be made where, it'll be harmony. We won't have to worry about police shooting us or being scared of us because there's a certain level of communication going on now.
Now, you are a bus driver in New York City, and you've said that ever since your brother passed away that you felt like he's been talking to you, and you've been responding. The Floyd family has started a foundation in George Floyd's honor, turning grief into action. How has the passing of your brother in the past 6 months changed you personally?
Oh, wow. It's actually, my family knows me as, a quiet person. I say what I have to say when I have to say it, but I'm very quiet. But this situation has really brought out my voice. I've really realized that I have a purpose and I have a voice that needs to be heard. And I'm speaking for my brother because he can't speak no more. I'm walking for him because he can't walk no more. And I'm loving for him because he can't love no more. And he loves, that's what he does, he loves. People focus on the past, everybody has a past, but I'm focusing and I'm continuing his legacy from when he started trying to get his life together and start afresh. That's where I'm continuing the legacy. And that's why in New York, I started a nonprofit organization, We Are Floyd. And I named it We Are Floyd is because the situation that happened to my brother can happen to anybody. And we focus on mental illness. We focus on, making sure people in the community is safe. I've linked up with different organizations in Queens, New York, Fathers Alive in the Hood, 100 Suits, Kevin Livingston in Queens. We trying to make sure the community is right. And that's the legacy that my brother wants, that he started.
And you say that you've heard him talking to you. What do you, in essence, hear him saying?
In essence, I hear him saying, like, especially when I first went to Minneapolis and I saw the mural on the wall in the community, they have different murals, and I saw the detail that they made in his eyes. And when I looked at his eyes, it's like I just was in a trance, and I could feel him, like a channel saying, baby brother, you gotta speak for me. You gotta let them know the real me. You gotta let them know the real me. And in order for them to know the real me, you gotta tell the story. You gotta tell the story. You gotta tell the story of who you are, my baby brother, who our father was, George Perry Floyd Sr., you know, and the love that the Floyd family extends to everyone. You know, and so that's the job that I have. That's the load that I'm carrying. It's not even a load, it's a gift to me, because that was my big brother. I love him, I miss him dearly.
Now, in addition to a teenage son, you also have a 3-year-old little boy and a 2-year-old daughter. When they're old enough, what will you tell them about their uncle as far as why and how he died and how things changed as a result of his death?
It's going to be in history. So they're going to find out about it. They're going to come and ask me, and I'm going to tell them, your uncle was a black man in America trying to do his best, trying to live his life, and got caught up with the police brutality. Then I have to explain to them what police brutality is. I'm hoping it was, because by the time they're older, I'm looking for it to be better.
Hopefully it will be was. Terrence Floyd, we thank you so much for your time and all that you're doing in the community.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.